Our 10 News anchor Heather Wallaga has a look at the impact the storm had here in East Tennessee. Good morning.
Russell and Abby, good morning to you. Florence brought gusty wind and nearly an inch of rain to the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Park rangers had to close several facilities and roads in case the weather caused mudslides or falling trees. On Clingman's Dome, sustained winds of 25 miles an hour shook the mountainside Sunday. The wind gusted up to 51 miles an hour at one point. Christina Turner and her family left Jacksonville, North Carolina 5 days ago ahead of the storm.
Your first thought is just survival. Just making sure that everybody gets out safe, and the rest of the things could be replaced.
Now, we are waiting to hear when those roads will reopen. Park rangers say it depends on how quickly the storm moves through. The park says closures would remain in effect overnight, and crews will check for storm damage this morning. The closures make most of the trailheads inaccessible. The biggest one, Newfound Gap Road, which is closed between Gatlinburg and Cherokee, North Carolina. The park hopes to reopen areas to the public as quickly as possible, but that could take several days depending on the extent of storm damage. We have a full list of the closures on our website right now at WBIR.com. Russell.